3, 2, 1. Oh my God, there's a banging at the door. That's a quote from Knock at the Cabin, directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Is it?
Yes, I've memorized the movie.
That classic quote.
I'm Adam from Your Movie Sucks. This is Sardonicast.
I'm Ralph from Ralph the Movie Maker.
And I'm Alex from HE. And that was a reference to the new one. The new M. Night. He's here again.
He's back, boys.
Concept movie.
Yeah.
M. Night.
Another short story turned into a film. And yeah, the general consensus, same with Old, seems to be just like, oh, the short story wasn't even that great, but he made it worse. That's what everybody says who's like read the original.
Well, he made
story.
it worse by making it like longer, which is not always the case. Like I think of like Arrival. That was a short story written by like a famous like writer who was like an acclaimed award-winning writer, but like that translated well to like a feature film, you know. That's just like a good example.
When it's not M. Night doing it, it can go well.
It depends on the story, the director, a variety of factors. What did you think of Knock at the Cabin, though?
I thought it was really lame. I thought it was really unspecial and like just one of the most
Old was a good thing to bring up. That is his last movie. I thought it was like about the same.
Oh,
like to me, like I don't have a strong preference between these two movies personally.
Yeah,
I was just like, yep, it's another M. Night movie. Like, it's got the twists. It's like what you'd expect. It's got some good moments in there, like some like kind of thrilling moments. I'm not sure where Adam stands on this.
Is there even like a twist in this movie?
The twist is that there's no twist, right?
No, the twist is that they were. Well, I don't want to spoil it. We can get into the twists. There's a few twists.
Well, let's go into spoiler talk. Who the fuck? Everybody who wants to see it has already seen it. We think it's bad. Spoiler discussion.
Yeah. You don't know if you're going to get a twist now. Like, that's so, I think, like, the twist thing, it didn't work for a while because it became, like, every movie he made had a twist, but then some of them didn't. And now it's like, oh, so it's like, you don't know if there's going to be a twist now. So it, like, works again,
true.
you know? The twist is kind of like the Four Horsemen thing. You know, that was kind of the twist. Like, that they were the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, like, actually.
Is that even a twist, Eddie? I don't know if it's a twist.
You're supposed to think they were crazy people.
Yeah, that's like the twist. So it turned out they were right.
No, but there was always... No, because it was always one of two options. Like, from the moment the trailer was released, it's either option A, they're crazy people, or option B, what they're saying is true.
Right.
And that was... So, like, it's not... It's weird to call it a twist when they just picked one of option A or option B that was clearly established from the trailer of the film. It's not really a twist,
I'd say, like,
is it?
that was supposed to be the twist.
How's it a twist? it was either going to be one of the two. What are the other?
I'm not going to defend the movie because I really... It's like Old. Yeah. I wasn't really that fond of it. Like, I was just not...
I thought Old was much worse, but more memorable. I could say more things about Old.
It was funny.
Exactly.
But I think it was cut from the same cloth in the sense that, like, his latest movies are just like, the concept is the movie, you know?
Yeah.
The beach that makes you old, the doomsday preppers that turn out to be right. And then that's kind of like all the movie has to offer. Beyond that, like, there's really nothing memorable, you know? Like, they get some kind of big actors, and so they can, like, sell it. His movies are, I guess that's how he keeps being able to do this, is that they're marketable, they're kind of sellable, they become jokes like AI, like Jordan Peterson talking about Old and stuff, like, it's in the zeitgeist still, I guess, because they are just kind of like, I guess, stupid and silly, and everyone just goes to see them anyway.
The concept of Old was much more sticky. It had its stickiness.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's the stickiness.
Yeah, there was something memorable about that, but I don't think this was nearly as successful, and nobody's going to be talking about, like, nobody's going to be making AI Jordan Peterson memes with The Cabin in the Woods, because you can't say anything about it. The beach that turns you old, there's a stickiness there, whereas Gay the Strangers, who gives a shit?
Gay
That's really what it is. Gay the Strangers Apocalypse. That's it.
But then I'm looking at the budget right here, 20 million, and it's supposedly grossed 54. So I mean, it's not too bad. Like,
Yeah.
That's how he keeps being able to do this. Like, just find another short story.
Depends on how much they spend on marketing.
Yeah, just like enough to kind of scoot by.
It's crazy. We've all seen the movie, but we're describing it like just from stuff you'd see in the trailer. Like, there's nothing actually in the movie.
That's all that the movie is. They say it's they're either crazy or they're not, and then the movie happens, and by the end they pick one of the answers, and that's the entire fucking movie. They don't explore anything beyond that.
Yeah, that's like the whole point. That's why it's just sad. Like, I didn't feel like I really watched much of a movie there.
No.
I was just like, yeah, that was fine.
It felt like a rip-off.
It was like something to do with my friends, but that was it. Like, it was completely...
it doesn't really feel that cinematic, does it? Because, like, each time there's like a big reveal that, like, it leans towards them being right. It's always revealed through, like, the news, you know, something kind of detached where it's just... I guess they wanted it to feel like a bottle movie, but it's like we'll be talking about, like, somewhat more of a bottle movie later. And that's kind of how you do it, not whatever this was. There's no like big arching questions outside of the premise, and the characters don't really go anywhere. And it really just is a nothing movie.
Each progression point in the plot does not actually change the stakes at all. In any way.
Yeah, it's quite static.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, one of the people that is threatening you just died. They killed one, and you've explained it. Like, at the very beginning, it's like, oh, we're going to kill one by one. This one's going to say, I have a family. Like, that matters more? Okay. But really, they're just, like, characters that could have just not shown up there in the first place. You know? They're not, like, a part of the main cast of characters that you're supposed to care about, I guess. Yeah. They're not a part of the 2 men and a baby.
There's scenes of this movie of just, like, people brutally like killing themselves in front of like a small child, and I was just like, oh, okay.
It's mostly off screen.
Yeah,
most of the violence is off screen.
But even if it wasn't, you can still make that work and like hide it. But it was just not really effective.
Funny Games is a great example,
right? Or that guy, even Cachet or whatever.
Yeah, Hanky Chan.
But this is just like it didn't really have the impact it kind of wanted to at points. I did think Dave Bautista was pretty good. I like that he is a versatile actor and he can take on different roles, and this was like more of a crazy character, like a morally ambiguous guy, but I think he worked in the role. Like, I thought the acting was fine. I thought the guy from Harry Potter was fine.
And it sucks that we will never learn his name.
Yeah.
Ronald Weasley did a great job.
Someone knows it. Is a fan of him. Yeah, you know, like all the acting was fine. I liked the cast of it. Even the little girl was like solid actor, I thought. But it's just the story itself was not very...
I thought she dragged it down.
Yeah.
I mean, she was like, she did a good job for a kid. But she didn't make a performance that made me believe that it was a character and not an actor, which is the only really important part.
Right.
Overall, I just thought it was like competent.
No, I thought I'm with you, man. Like, the performances were fine. It's more that script. It's more just everything around it that's like pulling it down. It was so like fine, so just nothing to me. I wasn't like groaning, wanting to pull my hair out in the same way I was during like Glass or After Earth or something like that. But then it's nowhere near as good as, you know, his best either. So it is just kind of middling, like sat like right in the middle of his filmography for me.
Yeah, doesn't really take many chances.
Yeah.
Like even some of his more bad movies do. It's just one of those in the middle, right? Not terrible, not the best. It's just somewhere in there.
Yeah, I happened to rewatch The Happening like a couple weeks back, and that's like...
masterpiece.
Man, like anything after that is like a growth in terms of like getting an actor, a performance out of an actor.
Right. That one's like shocking.
Yeah, it doesn't seem real. It seems like it's like a gag on you.
The performances definitely seem like a joke.
No.
Yeah, that's a very bizarre movie to come out of like the studio system, you know, like out of millions of dollars was spent on that shit. But yeah, he's like that kind of director. It's not as bad as that, but it had The Happening or whatever, After Earth has those moments that you like remember, denied, sit down, or like whatever.
Yeah. What we need to do is we need to give him too much money again. I think that's what I would ideally want out of an M. Night Shyamalan film is knowing that it had a high budget and he had all of the creative control he wanted, and just watching that happen, because those seem to be the best train wrecks.
Yeah, that is crazy. The like quadrilogy of shit.
That's the thing. This is his budget range. This is where he should be like thriving, is this kind of budget range, like the medium budget. I saw like a tweet, like someone praising him for like how much funding he's able to get still for his films, and like being an independent like original artist who just makes original films, and I really respect that. It's just like, why isn't like the movie better? Yeah, that's all. Like, I just don't like the movies themselves. I think they're very like,
he's just making kind of disappointing movies,
right? I wish they were like better, because considering the resources he has, they should be better.
Yeah, but if he didn't make like 3 movies in a row that were like cultural phenomenons, then he would be nowhere, because that's what solidified his name. Like, everybody knows M. Night Shyamalan. Everybody like he's one of the few directors that like is a household name.
Right. Split kind of was a comeback.
But then how many directors could survive that string, that being The Lady of the Water, In the Water, The Happening, The Last Airbender, and then After Earth? Like, that is...
Still got the name.
That's like quite a string. Yeah, that's the thing.
Right. Steven Spielberg survived fucking like the BFG, you know, because he's still got the name.
That is no Last Airbender though, you know? Like, that's fine.
No, it's not.
Steven Spielberg survived a shit ton of like really bad movies in a row, you know? But he's still got the name. That's exactly why.
Not like this though, man. Not like this.
In a row. Yeah, not like, yeah, I can't see that, but he hasn't had a string like M. Night does.
They're not as funny.
But
yeah, never that comically bad, because M. Night at his worst is like, it's like shocking. It's like amazing that it's even the same person who like put together like The Sixth Sense or Unbreakable. It almost seems like, were you just not like trying? Like, did you rush this? Was there some reason you had to rush this? Because this is actually crazy.
You have to wonder. You wonder if that's it. He's just like doesn't give a shit.
Maybe he's just happy that he's just working consistently.
He's just so fucking, like, he's weird, and just, he's kind of full of himself.
He's weird.
And he doesn't understand what he's doing, and he blames his children if it goes wrong.
M. Night?
Yeah. That's what he does whenever he makes a bad movie. He's like, no, this is for my children, actually.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
that's what he said for Lady in the Water. He said he was making it for his child self, or like it was his childhood.
He said
passion.
it for The Last Airbender. Also, I think he even said that for After Earth.
His child self
for my children.
Yeah, he was making it for, you know, he wanted to tell Lady in the Water that story since he was like a child, since he was like a kid or like a teenager or something.
Yeah.
So he's like,
I see.
Yeah. So he just makes movies for children.
Through that.
He that's it, guys. He makes children's films. We just don't.
Oh yes. Knock at the cabin.
We just haven't realized. Yeah.
This got an R rating. What was it for language? I guess like that's about it. Like it wasn't really that gory or anything. Like that could have easily been.
I thought it was PG-13.
Exactly. It got an R rating.
I thought it was PG-13.
I think because they said fuck a couple times and there's gay people in it.
Yeah, it's probably
I don't know why this is R-rated.
Yeah,
yeah, it seemed like it was specifically edited to avoid getting an R rating. To be honest, like,
yeah. Watching the movie, it would appear like that would be the case. Like, oh, the violence is just off screen. You know, it's not even that
interesting.
Like,
See, yeah, I did not realize. I thought it was PG-13 while I was watching it.
Exactly,
because they didn't show the violence like at all. Like not even like a little bit.
No,
even those Michael Haneke movies you mentioned, they show like. Well, like in Cachet, they show something like this. It was like nothing,
and the performances are so horrific that you believe it's happening. Everything's just so fucking.
Yeah, they actually sell it.
Yeah,
yeah,
they sell it's so
just,
well.
Yeah, it's crazy. This
it's like worse than
this
showing
movie.
it in a Hanukkah film.
Yeah, it's just in this movie though. It didn't. Yeah.
No, not at all.
No.
And good performances. Not good enough for what it needed to be for the child actor, but whatever. You can kind of tell that was going to happen from the trailer. What pisses me off about this movie, there's a couple of things that piss me off about it, but they set up this concept and they very clearly say all 3 of you are going to have to decide who to kill. And then the girl goes off to like a treehouse, and she's not a part of the decision. Right? And so it's like, well, then why would you set up the stakes in that way and clearly say that was going to be the case? Even if, let's say, that's not how the universe functioned, why would you say that? Because it sets up unrealistic expectations in the viewer's minds, and it makes it seem as though the stakes are higher than they actually are. Because when you hear that in the trailer or at the beginning of the movie, you think, oh no, either both of them are going to have to decide to kill the little girl in front of her, or they're going to have to get the little girl to agree to kill one of her fathers. Like, the fact that there's a little girl in the trio and that premise is said out loud, that implies a level of stakes that the film does not live up to. And according to people that read the short story, it does not bullshit people like that. But in this film, it just decided to bullshit people. She goes away to a treehouse. She's not a part of the decision. It still worked anyway. So they just lied to them. They just lied to them, and the prophecy wasn't really true in the way that they said it was. She wasn't a part of the decision. That's so stupid.
It was a cop-out, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
They were trying to get out of that.
Absolute cowards. Like, we already knew they were going to be cowards and nothing was going to happen to the little girl. Like, that was already pretty apparent. But to be cowards emotionally and, like, not even have her be a part of the decision, like, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. You're betraying the premise of your film. Don't have that premise then if you don't want to do it. Don't even suggest it, coward.
Yeah, a lot of it just feels like first draft material that's just kind of been used as the final draft. Like, so many of his movies come across to me like that, where it's like, you're playing with some kind of cool ideas, and if you just kind of sat on this or rearranged this here or changed the dialogue up or something, had a bit more subtext or something, a bit more meat.
They're a bit rushed. Like in the writing phase, I mean. Like, even just like the pre-production phase. There's like a kernel of like a good idea there, but then they're just like, oh, you got to rush it out. We got to like get out the next M. Night joint, and it's like, all right, like, like I don't even know what to make of it, you know. Aside from that, it's an M. Night film. You're just like, it's another one of those. I'm like kind of sick of them.
There was a really funny moment where the news broadcaster is saying which areas of the world are affected by the storm. And there was it was pretty apparent there was a disconnect between what was written on the script versus how she said it. And then also just people on set not correcting her or not understanding. So British Columbia is a part of Canada. And so in the script, they wrote it down British Columbia, Canada, and then a list of other places. But the way she read it was like, the storm is approaching British Columbia, Canada, Paraguay, and just like listed other things. And it was so obvious that she didn't know that British Columbia was in Canada, and she read it as two different places. And nobody corrected her on set. M. Night never corrected her. He was ostensibly directing that scene. I don't know. Maybe it was his B team. I don't know. But nobody corrected her, and it was just like a very silly mistake that I found.
It's probably like a second, like an assistant team. You know, they film it, like the guys who like film shots of the bridges, like or establishing shots for movies. Yeah. Yeah, because it's like news footage. Yeah, that's a pretty funny flub. Yeah, that's funny. It
is very funny.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. it's just like rushed.
Which it just points to how like rushed together it seems. Yeah.
The word British is in it. How could an American possibly know? It happens to the best.
That is funny.
And I just didn't really care about the characters. There's a lot of flashbacks that didn't really matter.
It's just a nothing movie.
Very nothing. 3 out of 10.
We can move on. It's just like
in one ear.
Yeah, this is nothing to say. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those. I'd give it a I don't even know, 5 out of 10. So what? The 2.5 stars out of 5 stars.
Yeah, I think I gave this like a 2-star out of 5. Like, absolutely fine. Yeah. Whatever. Never gonna think about this.
It's not even bad. It's just like whatever.
Yeah, it didn't really move the needle either way, particularly.
I thought it was kind of bad, but just too forgettable.
Yeah, exactly.
Just annoying. It just if it wasn't so cowardly and just copped out of its own plot, maybe I would have liked it a bit more.
Yeah, or just came up with a more creative way to present it. Or I don't know. It's just anything else.
Or just like build off of the concept instead of just presenting the concept and then ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
build off of it next time, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Old was more entertaining. I thought Old was more entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely funnier. I actually remember that movie in more detail, and that was 2021.
Sure, maybe worse, but more entertaining than this.
All right, we also saw an HBO show called The Last of Us.
Boom, 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 boom.
It was
boom, boom.
based off of a not short story. It was based off of a video game.
A video game?
We watched all 9 episodes.
Oh, you did? Okay.
You did, right?
Well, I did too.
Okay.
Yeah. We should have checked this before, but no, I did. Yeah. I love the show. I thought it was great. I made a video about the first few episodes because I knew people would start shitting on it later because people are homophobic and they'd be like, the episode 8 was pointless or whatever, or whichever one the Left Behind episode was.
Oh, yeah,
Left Behind episode.
7, I think. Yeah.
Or episode 3, people, they rated it low on IMDb. It has like the lowest ratings,
particularly
of the third one and the Left Behind episode.
There's twice as many ratings on that episode than like the pilot episode.
Yeah, I was looking at that this morning. Yeah.
100,000 more people rated it.
Yeah, and I might just talk about these. Like, I'm gonna speak kind of like cavalier in terms of like spoilers and whatever. I'm just gonna like spoil stuff because I don't.
Let's all. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Everybody, this is a spoiler discussion. We all recommend it.
Yeah, it's just easier.
We're recommending the show. Watch it.
I'm gonna assume you've either played the game or watched the show. I assume most of our audience.
I should also be clear. It doesn't matter which one you do first. You can watch the show without playing the game. You can play the game without watching the show. They're
different.
They're
enough.
Similar and different, but the beats of the story that are important and impactful are effective in both properties to differing degrees, I guess. But
there's some that like the game did better. There's some that the show did better. I thought that's how I
really. I don't know. My main takeaway was kind of like, this is no doubt in my mind probably the best adaptation of any video game material we've ever
easily no doubt. I agree.
Production value, writing quality, just like admiration for the source material, like it's all there. I don't know really what more you could want in terms of like a direct adaptation.
And the source material's good.
And exactly. So they've got they're working with a good story. So
and it's adapted by the people that wrote the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that too.
It's not really bastardized.
Yeah, it's not bastardized. However, I do think it does really highlight to me how good that game is. I still do think the game is superior. I think the experience of the game cannot be matched by the show in kind of ways I wasn't anticipating, because like we're saying, it's 9 episodes here and the game winds up being between 15 and 20 hours. So you kind of get a lot more time, a lot of downtime in the game with the characters, little character moments that, and I don't know if this is just out of pure contrast because of how well I know that original game, but in contrast, it does seem like I just know the characters better in the game. I know the dynamics better. I feel the emotional beats more. I feel like even down to small details like how the music is used and whatnot. Not that it's bad in the show by any means. I just think overall, the game is way more punchy to me. And I feel like, especially considering just that time period it came out. We've mentioned before, like how that the 2010s was kind of all about zombies, and The Last of Us kind of in 2013 spinning the mushroom zombie idea, and that whole thing was like so like creative and fresh to me around that time. And I know like people in the general audience who didn't play the game are kind of experiencing that now, but for me it's more like, like a lot of the zombie beats I'm fairly familiar with now. We have had The Walking Dead. We've had just myriad zombie stuff in between that. So some of that punch is gone.
To me, this brought back the whole zombie thing, because I thought it was kind of dead for a while.
Undead?
My friend mentioned to me, Undead. My friend mentioned to me, Cam, last year, like the Walking Dead show ended. No one made a big deal of it at all.
Is it actually over now?
Did anyone?
Did they have the finale?
Did you even know that? Right?
I thought I knew it was coming close. I knew it was like ending sometime soon, but like I don't know anybody who's watching.
That's what I mean. The whole zombie thing was so fucking played out. Yeah, it was so played out, and to me, this brought it back. This is like a hugely successful show, more successful than that House of the Dragon show. Thank God, because that show's fucking boring. I've said that many times, but like it's boring, and this is so much better. And yeah, Alex, like,
wow,
I agree. There's some things the game did better, but there's some things the show did better. Like I mostly liked when the show kind of wasn't adapting the game at all and kind of did its own thing and its own, because there's plenty of original scenes in here that I thought were, you know, like really interesting, and they kind of changed up. They added like more, like there was plenty of that camaraderie between Ellie and Joel in the show for me. Like I did like them, and like how much of like us, because I do prefer the game probably, but how much of that is me that I played the game first, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of struggling with.
Yeah, I was kind of struggling with that too, because I don't think I can get over that. But as far as an adaptation, I thought it was good. And, you know, like the most important parts, like the casting of Ellie, like that was great. Bella Ramsey was great. Pedro Pascal was great. I can't complain about the casting at all there. The effects were fantastic for a show. It's like some of the best I've ever seen. Like the look of the show looks great.
Yeah, the whole production value is immense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a pretty great production design and like all that stuff, like all that the world building we've been saying. It really like delivers in that respect, I thought. You know?
Yeah. Pedro does a really great job in the role.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
He really embodies the character.
But yeah, it's like it did bring back the whole zombie thing. It did really bring that back for me. Yeah.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia for the Walking Dead episodes, and just like how much the viewership dropped off at the last season. Like, holy
totally
shit. They really killed the shit. They would have kept going. They really fucking killed the show. They made it so that no one was even interested for the entire fucking final season before they decided to kill the show. These idiots just ran
that's what happened.
Ground.
It's sad. Right, they totally ran it down.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Isn't that AMC. Crazy how it ended and no one like even knew?
I know, they don't care about the art.
11 seasons. Them. Yeah.
AMC is such an asshole.
Like when Better Call Saul ended, everyone was talking about it. It's just like compare the reaction.
Yeah, never give AMC full control of a property.
But yeah, that's like where zombie stuff was at for like at least a while.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people were craving like that next good zombie show, and this delivered it, because I think people love zombies. There's clearly like an audience for it.
This compared to The Walking Dead, like even when The Walking Dead was in its first season and it was good, like this is just miles above. Like this is completely
this
different
is much better.
beast.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
It's much better.
I would say that something that's really special about it is like the universe and the production design, especially. Like there's so much that you can interpret just from how a scene is presented visually. And I love that there's a lot of like very similar imagery to the games, and I love how much they tried to capture it with, you know, the lighting and like the overgrowth and trees and like all this plant life coming through and abandoned buildings. And it doesn't look cliched. It still looks like it has that distinct feeling of the game, and there's so much character to the environment. I think they did a really great job. And even when they do use CG to help fill in parts of backgrounds, it still looks like it fits in the environment, and a lot of the times you can't tell it's CG. You just have to assume it is, just based on practical reasons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good.
It looks
CG.
really, really good. There's only a few parts in the show where I watched it and I was like, oh, that looks kind of bad. But they were very few and far between.
And it's a television show, too.
Yeah, and so many of those sets are direct, like one-to-one adaptations of areas from the game. And like, if you're a big fan of the game, you will just be picking on that. Up on that constantly, and it is like really attention to detail focus. Like that really does add something to it. Makes it feel really faithful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really made for fans like that.
Yeah,
and as a fan, I was like, I loved it. I savored every moment of it. Not to say I think the show's perfect, but I enjoyed it a lot.
No, it has its issues, but I did, as you were kind of alluding to earlier, some of the stuff they've expanded upon around the edges were also my favorite details of the show. Like at first, like I think the first episode starts with, it's like a flashback to the 90s or 80s where there's like the mushroom expert being interviewed on TV, and it's like really kind of creepy and sets the scene. Or
that was great.
The early like flashbacks to the outbreak in, I can't remember which episode, 2 or 4 or so, like it's the cold open. That kind of stuff I really liked. And also of course, episode 3, which is the whole, doesn't even really have Joel and Ellie in it. It's all about Bill and his compound.
Yeah, they changed that a lot from the game.
That's like totally different from the game. Although you could...
I thought it was much better too.
Yeah, it probably is better. It's definitely less morbid and harsh. Like in the game, it's like very frank.
Yeah.
And cold and sad, and
no pun intended.
yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They definitely softened the character for this. But yeah, like the change worked for it mostly. It's funny, like the people complaining about it, like they clearly didn't play the game, or like they didn't pick up on the fact that Bill is gay in the game or whatever. Like, you know, obviously the Ben Shapiro reaction to the episode. I think he wrote some kind of review on Facebook. It was like, this is a show about zombies. I'm watching like 2 gay guys or whatever.
Where are the zombies? It's just gay guys.
Yeah.
What the hell?
What's funny is he literally lied about it. He said that there were no zombies in the episode, but there were. Like, there was a zombie at the beginning.
Yeah, like, there's a zombie toward the end.
You could say there was one zombie, like if you want, but
yeah, there's zombies in it. There's plenty, actually.
Anyway,
but yeah, it's about like that is really the point of the game. It's about humanity and, you know, people's relationships in the post-apocalypse. And that was like a beautiful example of that. Like that whole episode was fantastic. And the same with the Left Behind one. You know, people are like, oh, it's not important. I'm like, it is important. You see like how she got bit. You see or that she's a lesbian, like, or whatever. Like you need to see, like, these are important parts of her character that you need to see.
So I guess with those 2 episodes specifically, I enjoyed episode 3 a lot more than I enjoyed episode 7.
I did as well, but they're both good episodes. I don't see the...
And well, here's the thing. Episode 7 is something that I also experienced in the game already, whereas episode 3 was like a completely new experience.
Yeah.
And so, especially when I was able to compare episode 7 to the game, where not only in the context of the game was it like DLC, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But also, my biggest issue with that episode is that the chemistry between the 2 actors and their level of performances bouncing off of each other just didn't work for the most part. I think they're both good actors. They're both really good actors, but they're just not quite at the level where I can be like, oh yeah, I believe your relationship, except aside from like maybe a couple parts closer to the end. I think that they get better at it as the episode goes on, but for the most part, I found it just wasn't strong enough, and I was really hoping for something a bit stronger there. Whereas Nick Offerman and like, holy shit, the filmmaking and especially the performances in episode 3, like that was my favorite episode. That was an incredible piece of filmmaking, and the way that everything functioned narratively, and like it was just such a great story told so well and just so artistically. Episode 3 was incredible.
That's what I mean when I say like the stuff they invented for the show. Some of it is like really great. It's better than the game. Some of the stuff they created. Usually, what bogged down the show was when it was like almost too faithful to the game, or would almost recreate scenes. There's this scene where like she steals one of Bill's magazines, and she's like, "Why are all the pages stuck together?" And in the game, it's funny. In the show, I don't know if it worked as well. It didn't feel as like natural. And again, that might just be because I've seen the fucking scene already. Like I'm just watching the same exact scene again, just recreated but it just felt, there was something about it that felt unnatural to me. Like it just didn't feel like the same character, you know?
It's just skipping over a bit faster.
Right. It's just Ellie in the game is just an inherently different character than the Ellie in the show. They're just so different. I don't know why the same scene would happen in the same way, you know? But whatever.
Speaking of scenes that are translated from the game to the show, I want to talk a bit about the combat scenes, because there's some. So I think it was like episode 4. Was it episode 4 or episode? Which I think it was episode 5 actually, where they had the sniper. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was
at the end, it was the whole like, oh, stealth, and he goes up to the top of the tower. Like, I remember playing a section like that in the game.
Yeah, that's in the game. It's kind of different.
Yeah, it's like the exact same set piece.
Yeah.
The way that it was translated to the show, I thought worked really well. He didn't, I don't remember the nuance differences or anything between the game and the show, but in the show, it worked. There was nothing wrong with it in terms of how it was presented. I thought that the combat scene in episode 9, how it was kind of just treated as a montage, and it still, by the end of it, the end result of it felt kind of video gamey. I'm not sure how I felt about that. I felt like in your last episode of the season, especially considering it's like the shortest episode of the season, like it could have been longer, rather than having a montage of him just killing everybody in the hospital. I feel like you could have presented that in a way that would have been closer to the sniper scene, where it doesn't have to, like, you can follow it in real time. Maybe you can have him kill the same amount of people. Maybe it can be just as much of a like brutal
I don't know.
sort of massacre. I don't know. But I was hoping for something, maybe not to the same exact quality as Children of Men, but something where they could really show off, and something where they could showcase the struggle of how he gets there, rather than it just being like, I'm a video game guy, bam, bam. I get the narrative and character purpose of having him easily killing people from his mind. I get what that means to the character and him in the situation, and how he doesn't flinch when he's shooting someone. But I think that in terms of how he just kind of like effortlessly does that, and the fact that it's a montage and there's music over it, and we're kind of just getting like little bits of it, and I needed something more important in that scene. I needed a better translation of showing him get to the same place, but just it felt so cheesy.
Yeah, they made it quite clinical. Like, I'm just contrasting it to the game, where it's like a mad dash, and you're right there with the character, because of course you're controlling him, which is just an advantage the game has. But there is just a completely different kind of atmosphere and tone to that moment specifically, compared to the show. Because it's like a violent kind of scrappy. You're just there with Joel. He's like crawling through the corridors. There's like red light bleeding everywhere, and it's just like a mad moment where he's not really being rational, but the way it's presented in that montage is just kind of more clinical and rational. And I don't know, it doesn't like hammer home the point that whole ending builds to as strong as the game.
No, it feels kind of rushed, that last episode, and I don't know why they would do that.
I thought the last moment was good with it's like a big scene in the game, like the last scene. I thought that was great how they handled that.
The very last scene, that's essential.
That was more important than
it was more important.
The shootout. Yeah.
And that was more one-to-one, yeah.
I feel like we still could have gotten more out of it.
Yeah, again, to have action there would have been, like you said, it would have been video gamey.
No, but it was.
Like any kind of action.
It was anyway.
Maybe, but I don't know how you could have avoided that.
Was Children of Men video gamey?
It's not based on a video game, so
no. But I'm talking about the action.
I don't know.
Separate, like you can still have someone survive against all odds and get from point A to point B, and you could throw in a bit more element of
Children
luck.
of Men.
You could have him maybe struggle a bit more, like almost fail, or like I just
that might have taken away from the drama of like what was happening. No, I don't believe so. I think that it would have been a bit more grounded. That's what I'm trying to get at. I think the montage was the attempt to ground it because it's so like in the video game you can kill like 20 people
attempt,
and whatever. In a show,
I don't think it worked.
Yeah, it's an attempt. I think an action scene would have been too video gamey there.
Yeah, I get why they did it,
but I'm not saying an action scene translated 1-to-1 from a video game.
The most video gamey part of the show was probably like the opening, like car chase, like you know, with his daughter there, like that one take.
I don't agree.
When they're going through the town. Well, all right, that's fine.
It felt the most
that's actually like the exact same.
It felt the most like the original game, but it did not feel video gamey because the original game felt cinematic.
That scene, the scene where I just described, that's the exact same scene in the video game. Like, you understand, it's the exact same thing.
Exactly. But the original video game wasn't a video game in that scene. It was a cinematic scene. And the original video game, part of the reason why I love it so much is because it feels like a movie. Right? Sure, there are parts of the video game, like in stealth sections, where you're just like going up behind people and go, whip. Like a lot of the gameplay feels video gamey. But just because the show is translating a scene from the game that in the original game wasn't video gamey. But so just because it feels like the game that is technically a game doesn't make it video game. When I say video gamey, I mean stereotypical video game.
We're really splitting hairs here. Really splitting hairs.
I guess their fear is like they don't want that, you know, that Doom moment, you know, where it's like
right.
Or like the Halo show did it recently, where it's like, yeah, we're gonna do a gameplay bit now where it's like mimicking the HUD from the game. Like, obviously, maybe they were frightened of it coming across like that. That'd be worst case scenario. But we haven't mentioned the whole like Craig Mazin. He was like the showrunner,
Craig Mazin,
for Chernobyl, and now this.
Yeah, I think it's Craig Mazin.
Craig Mazin.
Craig Mazin.
No. It's sorry.
He was kind of taking the Chernobyl approach, where it is more about the like. A bit more of the science of like how the mushroom works and delving into that side of it, which is cool. I like that approach. It does give it a kind of a unique slant.
Like you were saying, that was a big selling point of the first one, but it wasn't actually in the game much, like the explanation of I guess it was, but it was way more part of the marketing, I felt. Whereas here, like the first scene of the show, they established like what these things are and like the science behind it. And that made it, like kind of creepy and like Contagion, clinical, right?
Yeah. Because of course that's another thing like the game has an advantage in is that you can world build in just a way more of a like slow methodical way, you know? So like you can pick up collectibles and it like will just flesh little details out here and there. It's just an inherent advantage, I feel like, to that medium, you know? Because they did delve into like little details and creepy things about like how the host is still kind of like alive and sentient inside the body and stuff, but this is all like revealed through collectibles and whatnot. So obviously that's not you're not wandering around of your own volition within the show, so they got to find other avenues to kind of exposition dump, and that probably is the best way to do it, to be honest, with this more like showing the outbreak from different perspectives and people on TV talking about it and stuff.
Yeah, it's a good show. I don't know what else. I was just gonna mention like the episode. Well, I think there's like only one we didn't really mention. It's like the one they're in the snow there. Oh no, there's a couple. There's the one where they meet his brother Tommy. That one was decent enough and like changed enough from the game, I thought, to make it like interesting. Like it wasn't engaging. That's just something I liked about these episodes too. They were actually engaging for someone who has played the game, because they were like changing enough up to like keep things interesting. There was enough added content, additional scenes or changed scenes that made you want to watch it. It wasn't like literally the exact same shit again. Which was much appreciated. I don't know if it would have translated either.
I think for me it was actually that episode where I was starting to feel like a bit more solidly like, I think the game is more powerful for me personally, because I think that's the episode where they have that like famous scene, that argument in the bedroom, which again I just feel like hits just so much harder in the game, just because of as I keep saying, like the advantage especially of like pace that the game has. Like everything's like kind of slowly trickled out. You are interrupted by stealth segments, combat sequences, and it all just kind of immerses you in the world in a different way than a show can. So I understand the changes, but like I feel like, yeah, those moments just hit way better for me in the game.
That scene there I actually liked. That was one of the scenes I thought that worked in the show for me. The acting in that scene specifically.
Yeah, that's the thing, that the acting in the scene is like so one-to-one that it is good. Like they're effective scenes and they do like hit, but it's just like, it's this comparison game. It's kind of like the inverse Snyder Cut, you know, where instead of like comparing shit to shit, it's like good to good.
Yeah, but like, can you say the same thing when you're adapting a book? Like, you know?
Well, I think this is it's the only example of this I can think of where it's like a lot of people will say that like no film can compare to that book because, you know, your imagination is able to like just tell a story in a way that no film can match. So it's weirdly,
and it is different,
one-to-one thing. But it's like, I've never like experienced this with a game before, which is part of what makes this so interesting because it's just never been done so well.
Right. Video games have scenes and like blocking like that you can compare it to. Like it's not just like reading a book. Yeah. So I didn't mean to make like it's not like quite.
And with how cinematic it was originally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not such a literal comparison, I mean, but you know, it's like, it's hard to talk about and like the emotion of it when I've already experienced these emotions from all I can say is like, you know, they adapted it pretty well. There's some scenes where I was like, wow, that was really good. Especially that one. That one was like, I thought that was one of the better scenes for me. You know, the one where she finds Bill's magazine or whatever, like that one, she throws it away in the car. Like that one didn't work for me so much. I'm trying to think of one that didn't work, like a change. There's one, like the only other episode I didn't mention, it's the one I think it's the second to last one. It's like when Ellie meets the crazy religious fanatics. That episode didn't work for me entirely. And there's like a scene toward the end when she like kills him. And in the game, the sound cuts out and there's music. I thought that was much more effective in the game. And then Joel comes and comforts her. In the show, they kind of changed it up to where you know, the sound is on and she just kills him. It's differently executed, and I just thought it was not as effective in the show
I'm
anyway.
Right with you on that one.
Yeah, because I did remember that about the game, that scene specifically. So it's a shame they didn't do that, you know.
Yeah, that was like a bit of fun I was having, like after watching an episode, it'd be like, yeah, I'd remember little details like that and then go watch like on YouTube, like the game version and be like, oh, okay, so that's what they've changed here. I wonder why they decided to tweak this. Oh, there's that line from that. Yeah, it's cool being able to do that, but it does like illuminate weaknesses of both mediums, I guess.
I just replayed like the remake, so I had like all the scenes memorized. I've played the games many times before anyway. Yeah, I love the games. I think they're great. I remember so much about them. It's crazy they couldn't even fit like it in 9 episodes though. Like it didn't really, like even the 9th episode was kind of short. I thought it would last, like I thought there was more story there.
I was
more
shocked
meat.
that the final episode was like the shortest one. I thought it was going to be like an hour and a half thing. And
they're saying season 2 is going to be like that second game won't even cover season 2.
Yeah.
Like they're going to need 2 seasons. They're going to need 2 or 3 seasons at least to cover the second game.
Which makes sense. The second game's longer.
It is. It feels like a slog.
And they do have more opportunity to develop more.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to change like the order, and we're not going to say anything because we just said spoilers for the first game, so we're not going to say anything specific about the second game, but they're going to have to change around, like some of the second game is like flashbacks and like, I don't know how they're going to...
Yeah, I'm actually kind of more interested.
The second game seems like a challenge to adapt for a television show in terms of what they were trying to do with it. I don't know how the fuck they're going to do that.
That being said, some of the best parts of this show were the stuff they changed, the stuff they added, I really liked. So the stuff they changed for the second season could work. Like they could actually make that character work. And, you know, they can actually...
I don't know how they're going to be able to carry forward that brutality of that game, because like The Last of Us 1 is a brutal game already, but like they really like ramp it up in the sequel, and it's kind of part of the point of it. I don't really like that point and don't really like the game very much, but like that is definitely kind of ingrained in the DNA, so I'm very curious how they are going to...
How do you translate it?
It's like all the biggest scenes I can think of from that game are all like vicious,
very
like, so vicious. Which you can kind of pluck out of. That was actually one of the things I do think the game is a bit better on too, just with the harshness of the violence and how it is extremely brutal, like all that hand-to-hand combat and like smacking people with bits of wood and stuff. It's like a bit more viscerally violent in that sense, and like throwing like pipe bombs with like exploding people. Like it's really, I remember when I played
dogs.
that in 2013, like not seeing like kind of gore, like of people's legs like exploding off in such a like brutally realistic imagining of it.
Fucking call out the names of their friends and like the dogs. Like, Can I see like Ellie light a dog on fire with a Molotov in season 2? Like, can we see that? Like, I don't know. Is she gonna be dog murder?
Yeah, like I'm kind of more curious because I feel like it's actually much more of a challenge. I feel like to adapt the second game.
I don't know how the fuck you're gonna do that.
For sure.
Yeah, so that's going to be really interesting.
I'm very interested in seeing how the fuck they're going to do that.
I'm interested too, but you know, I feel like it could go one way or the other. It could just absolutely suck and the show could tank, or it could be fine. I don't think it'll be great.
You never know.
I think the best stuff we've seen, you know.
I'm
glad they made this show anyway. I'm glad it was a show because it wouldn't have worked as a movie. It would have been really rushed.
It had to be a show.
Yeah. And like it didn't suffer from like a low production value. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I feel like it's a very accessible show.
Tell them to watch it. They're enjoying it.
Yeah, like whenever I go out, it's usually like a topic of conversation. Like it's very like casual viewing. Everyone knows it. I said it's super popular. Good. You know, I wanted it to be.
Man, I remember back in 2013, like the debates and arguments that like sparked after the end of the game and like the moral arguments that went down, and just seeing that like same conversation happening again was like quite a cool, weird moment that shows some success it had in the end.
Been 10 years.
I'm just so ecstatic. It's doing better than House of the Dragon because that show is so boring.
You hate that
it's
show,
like, yep, this is what HBO should be investing in. Like this is what people want to watch, not that boring like crap. Like this was actually like a good story. There's something to talk about. I guess one last point. I really like the score. We've mentioned the music from this guy. Gustavo Santaolalla. I think Santaolalla.
Gustavo.
He's a good composer. This music was great for this show. Yep.
Yeah.
Music was great for the show. Fit perfectly. It wasn't like, oh, it's like he's using the same themes and it's like distracting or whatever. Nope. It was perfect. It never distracted me at all. Never.
I haven't memorized the games or anything. I've played the first one at least 3 times, and I've played the second one once. Something that is noticeable is that certain songs that were used in particular contexts in the game were used in other contexts in the show. So if you're more of a nerd and more like if you've played the first game so many times and you're so familiar with this particular songs and how they're used, I can see how that could be distracting. It was fine for me, but I could see how that could be like kind of. They played like the end credits song of the first game like at a completely different part in the game, which was kind of weird. And then they played it at the end credits, like at the end of the season. Also, little fun fact here, I noticed. So there was a controversy with Naughty Dog with the trailer of The Last of Us 2. They literally, whoever did the music for that trailer, they ripped off a cover that someone else made that they just an independent artist on YouTube. I think her name was like Lottie Kestner or something like that. And it was one of those things where like I went over it, you know, whenever somebody says, "Oh, you ripped me off," I'm always skeptical, obviously, Kimba, etc. But I went over it and I was like, okay, like that's a really particular, like that is something unique that she created that was then translated into that. They should have credited her, blah, blah, blah. And then I was vindicated with that perspective. Naughty Dog actually apologized to her. They said that they made a mistake and blah, 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 blah. What's cool is in the end credits to one of the episodes, like halfway through the season, they included the original artist's cover. So they kind of got to
that's cool.
Do like a little, hey, we're acknowledging you, and she got paid licensing, and you know, like that's cool. They got to kind of apologize to her in like a more meaningful and kind of formal way. So that's a little fun Easter egg for anybody paying attention to that.
Yeah, to get that in an HBO show is probably
that's
cool.
I
didn't know that.
Than just an ad. So
I'm glad there was a little happy ending to that controversy.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, and there's anybody who's curious, I think there's a video on my highlights channel of me going over the songs and just what makes them particular and unique. But yeah, that was cool. And yeah, love Gustavo. one issue I had with the music was in episode 3, where it's my only issue with the episode. And I love Gustavo's music, everything about it. I just wish they kept using it because there's a point at like the climax of the episode. Yeah, they used the song that was in Arrival. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm thinking like I shouldn't be familiar with the track playing in this episode that has nothing to do with the game. Like, sure, maybe familiar with a track that's in the game, but not something from a different property.
Yeah. What's his name? The guy, Max Richter?
I don't remember. But it was just like
the guy, the pianist.
It was pissing me off, just being like, "What? Why is this?" And it felt, listening to it, it felt like, okay, this is from something else. It doesn't feel like it's from the show. It felt, and it felt manipulative too. You know, using that pre-existing, it's like cheating. It's like cheating.
But yeah, I made a note of that. I thought it worked for the episode, but yeah, I thought it was weird. I thought it was weird they didn't just use music from Gustavo.
That pissed me off.
That was something I noticed.
It's not like the game's lacking music. There are tons of good tracks on the original game soundtrack.
You know, that might have been my only issue with that.
Chose the cheap option.
That episode too, but. Like, aside from that, it's great. I mean, that's one music choice. But yeah, I wish it was Gustavo there.
One last thing that I'll mention, just because we kind of glossed over it at the beginning. In terms of episode 3 and I guess like people's reaction to it, I find it interesting because there's a lot of people that, you know, wouldn't even consider themselves to be like homophobic, but they just felt like, oh no, it just felt like it was, you know, we were following this story and this just felt like they stopped the story and then we had to see Brokeback Mountain. I've seen a bunch of reviews from this about this episode, and everyone who's critical about it always says it's like we got Brokeback Mountain. And that right there is kind of revealing in a way that is unintentional to these people, where it's like as soon as you see a gay relationship on screen, your only point of reference is Brokeback Mountain. Like, that's it from like 2006. That's your only point of like. It is nothing like Brokeback Mountain at all, other than the fact that there's two gay characters that are in love with each other.
Yeah,
that it is literally nothing like. You could not name more different properties in terms of just romances, other than just what their genders are. So that's kind of like unintentionally revealing. Is all I want to comment on. Like that's kind of weird. Not you know, just kind of bizarre thing to say.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's not the insult they think it is either, because it's like, that's an excellent film too, you know? So it's like,
it's a great movie.
What are you even trying to, what are you trying to say? Yeah, that stuff is just, pathetic.
Yeah, it is. I thought we were kind of past it, but I guess not. Whatever, just like laugh it off. It's like just dumb.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Gosh.
What about like this is like really dorky stuff at this point, but there were like little changes here and there that I was just confused by. Like in the second episode when Tess dies, they kind of add this sequence where a clicker like almost like kisses her or something.
What was that? Weird. Yeah.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know if that was like opening a door for like some new clicker lore or some creepy shit, but it just seemed like for that one moment, and that was them veering off from the source material for something I didn't really get. Compared to like,
I didn't get that either.
In the original,
it's not a perfect show. I got my issues with it like that.
Yeah.
That was a weird scene.
And why do you think they changed the fact they made like a distinct effort to make it so it wasn't airborne anymore? Because remember in the game there were like all these sequences where you had to put on masks and go through like the spores.
Oh yeah, I think that's just
because of the
narratively
they would have
masks
and
they would have to.
You don't see the actors as much.
I mean, the masks would be annoying, and then they would have to account for a lot of things narratively. It would just open it up to just more like, why don't they, blah 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 blah. Like, why aren't they doing that?
Yeah, and they've gone for more of like it's like a hive mind type thing now, which supposedly they're gonna like elaborate on in future seasons or whatever. I could see that being like an interesting different slant or whatever.
Yeah,
there's ways they could take it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm glad that this show exists, and I'm very interested in seeing what happens. And so, I mean, supposedly season 2 of the show will come, I don't know, either 2025, maybe late 2024. But now I'm just kind of interested, like, it's going to take them a while, a few years at least, for them to even get to the end of season 2. Will we have a third game by that point? Will there be a point where they intentionally deviate a la Game of Thrones? Will there be, will there be more pressure getting the games out on a certain time because of needing to catch up with a show in terms of like production schedules?
Yeah,
you know?
I don't think a game can keep up with a show. I think the show will just probably go off and do its own thing because it is so like it's so successful. It's so
there might be pressure to alter what happens in part 2, like really play around with it more.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Like, this is like a huge success now, so yeah, they might really like play around with that to try and get all the water from that stone that they can.
Yeah,
very interesting either way. Yeah. Enjoying it. Glad other people are enjoying it, and let's see just how nonsense and toxic the discourse gets in a couple of years.
Oh man, yeah, it's just gonna be revisiting all that one again.
We're doing it again.
Yep.
The Last Jedi.
Well, if you had to rate it on IMDb, like what would you give the show?
From what I've seen so far, like an 8. I would give it episode 3 a 9, but yeah, like everything overall, I would say like an 8.
I think I'm exactly there with you. Yeah, everything is like the acting, the production, the story is just baseline very good. It is an 8 out of 10 for me.
Wow, I'm shocked you guys rated it so high, given your criticisms. But yeah, I'd give it 4 stars too. Yeah,
but I guess this is just coming from I really like. I don't know, in 2013 when that game hit, like it really hit me a certain way. So it's like just comparing that.
Yeah, me too. This game, this didn't hit me nearly the same way. But again, is that just? I don't know what that is. It could just be that I've experienced it already.
Yeah, that's why I guess we spent most of the conversation like in the nuance between like just the little details that veer here and there. That's kind of just a nod to how good the original kind of source material is, to be honest.
And that's what the nerds want to hear. They want to hear us talk about the details, the deets.
Yeah. So I think, honestly, if like my biggest takeaway is that I want to play the game again, that's kind of a result for me anyway, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play it again. Not the second one. Man, that second one, I wish I could, but it's just such a slog. It's just so long.
I'll do it. I really like the gameplay in that game, and I would like to... I'm interested enough in the story, even though it didn't work for me, but like it's one of those things where it's like I'd like to know how I feel about it after having sat on it for a couple of years. It's like the house that Jack built, you know, where I'm like I had a very strong hate to that, but part of me wants to watch it again and see how I feel about it, knowing what to expect, because sometimes knowing what to expect and just kind of accepting it for what it is can change how you feel about it when you're anticipating it in a different way. But I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, I did replay Last of Us Part 2 like a year or two ago, and the story didn't work for me, but I did find things to like, in especially the environmental artwork. It's actually incredible in that game. It's insane, the level of detail and all this.
Props to you for playing that whole game again.
I know, it's because I got like the PS5 and I wanted to play it with like a better frame rate and see how it looked. And
I also like a good challenge. I played through all the Uncharted games on brutal difficulty, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm up for the challenge of no deaths grounded. Like, because if you die once, you die forever. Like, and you have to restart your play. I don't know if I want to do that, but I feel like I could do at least, some sort of challenge on it. That could be fun. I like the gameplay in those games.
Yeah, you can do.
Yeah, the clicker gameplay loop's like really fun and really tense.
I think I did Grounded on my last, not Grounded, you can't die, but like Grounded AI or whatever. Because you can alter the difficulty settings like for certain things. So like you can turn it like easy for ammo collection or like looting, but you can make it hard for the AI. I think I did something like that. Like
is this in the remake one?
Yeah, the remake. Yeah,
oh, that's cool.
It's in the remake. Yeah, it's like
they've got
difficulty
options. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
this
great
makes
game.
me wonder though, like when there's a big success like this, there are going to be copycats. What studios are like? What are they looking at? What IPs are there available to milk? Because I think PlayStation, like they're doing a Twisted Metal show. They've got like
what?
Really?
They got a bunch of weird projects. Yeah. Will Arnett's going to be that ice cream clown or whatever.
What?
Will Arnett.
They're
That's
doing
great.
a Ghost of Tsushima movie. Like they've got PlayStation they did that Uncharted movie that like really was bad. That was from a year ago.
Yeah, that was garbage.
Doing a Ghost of Tsushima movie.
I wonder how good that'll be.
So they clearly see the potential in this because I think there's been like a direct correlation with like sales of Last of Us Part 1 and 2 after the like crazy hit success of the show. Because I didn't quite see it like being this big. Like I thought it would be like good being an HBO show and everything, but I didn't expect it to gel with the general public like so well. But yeah, I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I am too.
Awesome.
Because it's something I like.
Yes.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We also watched a film that I recommended called Dial M for Murder, directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Never heard of him.
Who's that? Yeah.
Alfred Hitchcock. Noted famous man.
We've never talked about a Hitchcock movie.
I know, right?
Yeah,
so I've seen...
Sad. But, you know, it's good. It gives us, like, it's credibility.
Which Hitchcocks have we all seen?
I think I've seen 4.
I've seen a decent amount. Yeah. Wait, let me pull up my letterbox.
Psycho, The Birds, Vertigo, and now this.
Okay.
Murder, so.
It's good, like, we cover these now, like, because we're on, like, episode 100, gives us, like, some credibility.
Yeah.
I've always felt like, you know, like, if you have, like, 100 episodes of a podcast, you're, like, more credible. So yeah, we could get to like this classic movie, but like we get to Hitchcock like now. Yeah. But yeah, Adam, I cut you off. What were you saying?
I've seen Vertigo and Rear Window in this one, and Rear Window is my favorite by quite a bit.
Rear Window's great. Yeah.
I like this one more than Vertigo actually.
Vertigo's great too.
A lot of people really love. I thought the ending was laughable.
What about Psycho?
Psycho? Well, the problem is I saw the stupid remake and...
Why'd you do that?
Well, because I was like fucking...
You saw it first?
14 or something. Vince Vaughn. Yeah,
the Vince Vaughn one. Was it a mistake or was that a mistake or on purpose you did that?
I was 14 and I saw Psycho at the DVD store and I rented it and it was like kind of bad.
You're like, what the fuck is this? I heard it was the best. I heard it was the best movie ever. What the fuck is this shit?
I was somewhere between the age of 13 and 15. I don't think I had the original film in mind as like I know that this is a film from like the 60s or something. I just saw the name Psycho and I was like, oh, this is I probably assumed this is a classic or something, or like, I don't know. Like I couldn't tell you what my mindset was, but I watched it and it was bad. And so I don't know. I'll watch the original at some point. Like everyone's seen the shower scene, even if they haven't seen the entire original film.
It's one of those osmosis movies.
It's one of those things where it's like so in pop culture that I'm like, oh, I'll probably love it when I watch it, but I don't feel compelled to watch it because I kind of I feel like I know what it is. You know? Whereas I'm more compelled to watch things when I'm curious about what they are, whereas I kind of you know? Does that make sense? Anyway, so I'll watch Psycho at some point. Thanks, Gus Van Sant, asshole.
I've seen a few Alfred Hitchcocks. I've seen Psycho, Vertigo, Rear Window, The Birds, of course. How can you forget The Birds? That's what Birdemic is a ripoff.
I've heard
of.
The Birds is kind of silly.
It's good. It's silly. It's a silly concept, but it's like better than Birdemic. I mean, it's not a high bar, but it's a good. It's like that concept executed by Alfred Hitchcock. So it's a good movie. North by Northwest. I've seen that. I've seen Rope.
That's supposed to be good, yeah.
And I've seen Dial M for Murder. I think I've seen The Man Who Knew Too Much, but that was like I saw it when I was like 10 years old or whatever. You know, I don't remember anything about it. The others I've revisited a few times and so on. I'd probably say Vertigo is actually my favorite, or Psycho. Well, Rear Window's up there.
I thought Rear Window was like incredible. The one thing that really sticks out, so what's interesting is Rear Window and Dial M for Murder were released the same year. They're both 1954.
Yeah.
But they feel so different for me. Like, I really enjoyed Dial M for Murder a lot. But Rear Window, the one element that really sticks out about it for me and which elevates it above Dial M for Murder is just how much they were able to capture on screen visually. Like that whole back terrace or whatever you want to call it, like that whole environment and just like the camera movements and just the wide shots and you're capturing, like, I love the look of that film so much, and that's what really helps it for me to be my favorite Hitchcock film. Dial M for Murder feels like it could be like easily like a stage play kind of.
Yeah, because of course it was, right?
It's mostly dialogue, and sure, there are some interesting shots in it. You know, sometimes we get like an overhead kind of like high angle shot, but for the most part, it's not all that varied. Not saying it looks bad. It's not like, like a Judd Apatow film or anything.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really have... It doesn't really use the opportunity as much as Rear Window does to showcase some, like, really incredible visuals.
Sure. I thought it looked great, though, this movie. It looks great. There's real, like, utility to, like, how it's shot and whatever. Sorry, I was just going to say, like, you mentioned the year this was made, 1954, and I just said, like... Like, I had to, like, I was taken aback for a sec, you know? Because it's like, this is, like, made in the 50s, but, like, the craft of this is just so, like, immaculate, you know? It feels like something made easily 20 years later, or, like,
because I almost feel inverse as to what you were saying just then, Adam. Despite that claustrophobic setting, I feel like it was visually consistently actually quite varied, and it was all feeding into this kind of claustrophobic, like, it does feel like a play, but it also doesn't like enhance the story. It didn't like boil down into like the environment didn't feel repetitive to me, and none of the way it was presented did.
I was just saying mostly in comparison to Rear Window.
Okay,
I was saying Rear Window utilized it a lot more.
Okay, well, just the fact they're out the same year and everything, and
it elevated it a lot more. And Rear Window was also like very. Like one location mostly.
Okay, I haven't checked that one out yet. Yeah. No, I did really like this because you mentioned the kind of play aspect of it, and it feels very much like one because it is one and it's based on one. But that's also like the advantage of the movie. It is a strong story, a strong script, like fun characters, and the kind of Hitchcock tropes you'd expect with the tension and the story flopping here and there and the voyeurism of it all. I thought this was great and just nice and snappy too. Like the runtime of his movies tend to be quite just to the point. Just visually just communicate exactly all they need to, and it's just like in and out, just perfect.
Yeah, it really after the first like 15 minutes, it's just it's so intriguing, and it's so it takes you along on a ride narratively.
It's a good plot.
Yeah.
Like really like compelling, like
the conundrum.
It's just people talking, really. The whole movie is people talking in one room. And yet there's just this intrigue, this suspense. You're just like, you're hanging on every word. And it's just because the script is so good. It's like, it's got a good structure. It's like, you know, it's always moving forward. There's always like intrigue and something going on. And it's just like really compelling storytelling. Yeah, like Alfred Hitchcock might be the most important director like ever. Just like the way he transformed cinema and the way he told stories, the way he told these thrillers. And I don't know, he just kind of shattered a lot of expectations in the way he made his films. And his craft was just like we're saying, impeccable and really... Yeah, really well done here, especially. I
was just looking at his filmography earlier, and it spans what, like 6 decades or something. Like it's prolific to the point where it's like it's mind blowing.
Yeah, he's an inspiration to every great director.
It's especially interesting though, seeing how like, of course, like just living and working in the time he did, going from silent films early on and shifting into audio, but then retaining that like focus on the visuals that like obviously you have to focus on working in like the silent era and just like the evolution of that over time and what he was able to do with that. It's like so impressive and groundbreaking.
And the same with color too. You know, the way he uses color in his films is really impressive and, you know, very notable. His movies look excellent.
You know,
and I just feel like there was a different way of making a movie before Alfred Hitchcock, you know? Like he just kind of transformed the way people directed movies.
Like the model,
incredibly influential to all these filmmakers we know now, like Spielberg and Luke, you know, everybody. Everybody. He's one of the most formative, important directors ever.
This film was shot to be released in 3D.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah, that explains the lamp thing, right?
And I have a 3D Blu-ray of it, but I didn't watch it in 3D because I just didn't want to.
It's a 3D Blu-ray of it?
Yeah, like I have a 3D.
That's silly.
That was the only way I could get a Blu-ray. It was like the combo 3D regular.
That is
like,
so funny.
Dial M for Murder in 3D.
But you don't have a 3D TV though.
I do have a 3D projector, and I just didn't feel like using it.
Okay. All right. So you can watch it in 3D.
I can.
Cool.
But I've lost the interest of ever doing it. It's just such a the fad is over. I don't give a shit about it.
Yeah, I don't see what that would add to this film specifically.
Yeah, there's not a lot of shots that look like they're trying to be like a 3D thing.
And it's people talking in an apartment. I'm not saying that as
I know, right? Like it's a weird choice.
Yeah, it's not like Life of Pi or something.
No, I was surprised to read that too, because it was like, what? I guess
I didn't even know that.
Their money grubbing knows no bounds. Of course, they were trying to push it this early, but in the 50s, they were on this 3D nonsense.
Do you think Hitchcock like approved of that, or he was like fighting with the studio?
Can you imagine?
Yeah, who knows? I don't want it 3D.
I have no idea.
Well, something Hitchcock always does in his movies that I love is he always has a cameo. He has a little cameo in this movie, if you notice. Yeah, the little photograph there. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, I love his cameos. Yeah, just like good dialogue, good story. Like, you know, even though it's just people talking, you're really invested in what they're saying because there's like this murder plot. You're like, and it's like, it's really clever actually, like how the guy like tricks the dude into killing his wife because he basically figured out every way. Yeah. It was like every way in which the guy could he's like, I'm going to blackmail you, and every way which you can get out of it is like bad. Like I trapped you basically in this situation. And it's like, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like that's something that could like happen to someone now. It might be a bit far fetched, but you know, like it's like something that could happen. It's like a plausible concept because it's just like these two characters in an apartment. And then, like just where it builds from there, like the murder happens, but then like the guy dies, and then it becomes about the woman and her trial and how she's like convicted of this crime. It's like what I love about his story. It's like it takes all these turns. It's not just like the same shit the whole movie. Yeah. You know, even though it's in the same location, there's all these different like character dynamics that shift, and it's very interesting to watch, you know. And that's how you keep something compelling when it's just two characters talking or three characters talking.
Yeah, and it keeps like changing focus of the characters, and you get like the investigator coming towards the end and kind of switch focus. Yeah, it's really you can't like predict where it's going.
Yeah. When he comes into the story, him and the boyfriend or like her, you know, the guy she's seeing. Yeah. The guy she's seeing, like those two characters, they come in like later on into the movie, right? Because like that first part's just like those two dudes and the wife, and you think like the murder might happen, it might not. You don't know where it's going, and that's where like the suspense, like that's why it's such a good story. You don't know where like it's gonna go at that point because it could go either direction. Yeah, and then it goes into like it goes into a trial and all that. They introduce these new characters, and it keeps things like fresh. You're just like always on, you know, you're always on the edge of your seat because you're always like, there's always just something happening that's interesting.
Yeah.
In the story.
And it always avoids like the obvious beats that it could go down, you know, like the plan goes wrong and then it's like, oh, so what's he's going to have to like murder her? What is that just where this is going to go? But it's like, nope. Like the way it wraps up, especially towards the end, like when he just gets outsmarted by the writer and the investigator working together.
This is a spoiler discussion.
Oh, yes.
Now.
Yeah, full spoilers.
You've had 70 years to watch it.
But yeah, the way it wraps up at the end with that main character, like he doesn't like break down in tears or get angry. He just like offers everyone a drink.
So I love that character. I loved how like once the the murder plot didn't happen. He just kind of kept going with it and kept trying to make it work in his favor. He kept lying.
Really psycho.
Yeah, I love that fucking character. They're so psycho. Right.
The way that like the investigation and justice system and like all of these precautions that are in my mind that should be taking place that just weren't considered for a film in the 50s. Like at the end when he's offering everyone drinks, I'm like, he could have poisoned them. Don't take it. Don't let him pour his own drink. You know, like, oh, I'm about to go to jail. I'm going to pour myself a drink. Does anybody want a drink? Like, no, you got to stop him right now. And then like the investigator just casually admitting to like breaking and entering 2 different homes. Like, oh yeah, I used the key here and his girlfriend's place. Okay, well, I don't know if that would be admissible in court. And then Grace Kelly's character just like, oh, I'm about to be executed. Like what a quick justice system. Presumably some time has passed, but she's about to be executed right away. And then the day before he's like, oh, wait, I've got some new information. And the investigator on his own just has so much sway that he's like, oh yeah, I could just stop you from being executed. He just calls up somebody like, oh yeah, well, let's take her off of death row. I know she was being executed tomorrow, but we're just going to have her free walking around over here, and so she can help us figure out the rest of this crime based on a hunch he had. It's very silly. Just because people didn't think it. Not only did people, I'm not sure if it was necessarily like, oh, just people didn't think about it. It might just also be one of these things of movies kind of influencing people's ideas and expectations, creating like falsehoods of what people think about the justice system. Like everybody has all these weird like, oh, you can't report a missing person because it hasn't been 72 hours. It's like, okay, well, you can. That's just something that movies have said for a while, and you believe it because it's been in a movie. Where it's like media can kind of like influence how people think about it without it being accurate. I don't know. But yeah, there was a lot of that in this movie.
Yeah. But just like general understanding, like if you rewind back that far, like DNA was like discovered in like the 50s, you know, like it's, we're winding back, and there's that whole bit towards the end where there's the one of the police officers has to carry a handbag.
I was just about to mention that.
Yeah, you got to stuff that away into a different bag so no one thinks you're gay, because of course it was like
he literally says, don't go down they'll arrest you. You're going to get arrested.
Yeah, and you would get arrested.
I was like, whoa.
In the 50s for being outwardly gay in the UK.
Yeah, pretty uncomfortable, right?
I think that's probably what they were hinting at, but the alternate way to interpret that would be you'll get arrested because someone thinks you stole the purse. That's another way to interpret it. But yeah, I think they were kind of hinting at the gay thing.
No, why would a police officer steal a purse?
Mm.
You'll be arrested.
Yeah.
For carrying a purse.
But just that whole setting, you know. It's just a little window into the 50s. I think it wasn't even that long ago, but it's also crazy. So different.
I made a note of that too. Yeah, the handbag line. Because I was like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from? But yeah, it's like, aside from dated shit like that, I mean, the movie, it just comes with the time. I mean, we see so much of that kind of shit.
Yeah. I mean, it is technically just accurate to the time. Like, it is what they would be doing. Like, it was illegal, you know? Like,
right, technically true. Right. I love the title, Dial M for Murder. That's such a great title.
It is, yeah. There's some good posters out
there.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's great. It fits in the movie perfectly. You're not like, oh, why is it called that? It makes sense why it's called that. Like, if you watch the movie, it's perfect. Perfect title. Yeah.
I love the way that the characters were portrayed in this film. So, like, combination of the acting and the writing, you know, just like the intent of how these characters are behaving. There's a lot of character to them.
Yeah.
Their accents are fun. And just the way that, like...
they are.
You know, I guess we call him the main character, like the villain, he is just casually like wiping off fingerprints in the middle of his conversation, and like the fake pretending to drop the letter so that the other guy gets his fingerprints on it. And yeah, I loved the inspector. He reminded me a bit of John Cleese, just how he was kind of handling his character was kind of interesting.
I like the end of the movie. He's like combing his mustache. That's the very end of the movie. Like, that's the last thing you see. That was very funny. I like that.
His the actor's name was John Williams, which was fun.
Yeah, I saw that in the credits and so.
What?
That's not the John Williams, is it?
Yeah, it's not either.
Wow, John Williams is a great actor. Who would have thought?
Speaking of John Williams, I thought the music was well handled for the most part, but there were scenes near the end where I was just like, what are you doing? Like the tone and the fact that it's existing in those scenes was just kind of off-putting. The first half of the movie I thought was perfect. It was really sparingly used, and when it was used, it was appropriately toned. But it's like, there's this weird kind of like, what's the word? It was like silly or just like too lighthearted.
It's a bit comedic.
Yeah, when they were kind of discovering things.
It's
and
just the time. It's like when we were talking about Nosferatu. It's like just music from the time was different.
Yeah, that's how I was thinking about it. It was like, yeah, we're so like spoiled now, however many years later, with all these different expectations for like
different expectations,
how you'd implement music of this style. That's kind of how it was coming across to me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he definitely has a style like Hitchcock. The flourishes, like when you see your trial or whatever, and it's just like a purple background, or I don't remember exactly what color, but it's just like a colored background.
I noted that down.
And that was like, that was a cool, yeah, that was cool. I really enjoyed that little moment because it's mostly set in the apartment. So whenever it leaves that, they try to do something like visually creative or
that was a cool way to show passing of time. Actually, that little sequence.
Yeah, that was super cool. I like when you see the husband or whatever outside of the house. It's like through a window, like the character's looking at him through a window. I thought that was like a clever like way of filming that rather than like, I don't know, just from outside or something. There's like all these creative choices that you don't really that you take for granted. I feel that like you don't think about, but when you see them in the movie, it's like, oh, that was the perfect choice to make there. The way they framed that, the way they, delivered that dialogue. Yeah, it's just really fun movie. It's really entertaining. I'd say for like a Hitchcock movie, all of his movies are great, but it's a very entertaining movie. And it reminded me a lot of Rear Window from the One Location, but also of the film Rope, which I don't think you guys have seen, but that's like an all one location movie too. It's like a murder mystery, and that was 1948, I think. So that was like even earlier than this. And they're both great. I think that one's done in like 3 takes or something like that. It's like 3 shots.
That's interesting.
So that was super cool. Yeah. But yeah, this one, I guess this one connects more with people. I probably prefer this film, honestly. It's just like a little more entertaining. Like the pacing was so great. It was like so interesting the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm glad you recommended this because I've never seen it. And I thought it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, I had a great time with this.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I expect nothing less from my boy Hitchcock, though.
Your best friend, Alfred Hitchcock. Yeah, it had a really great hook, and the intrigue from the get-go was just, it grabs you, and then you're interested in seeing how it plays out. And then, over the course of, it was almost like 2 hours, wasn't it? Let's see.
An hour 45.
An hour 45, yeah.
Just about.
Yeah, like maybe, personally, the first 15 minutes were like, it was like, this should pick up at some point, and then as soon as I felt as if it should, it did. But there was a lot of exposition.
See, for me, as soon as the husband comes home and you figure out the like dynamic, then I was like, that's all they took for me.
Yeah, there was some stuff that they had to set up, but it was all important. So,
yeah, once they got into the murder mystery and all that, or the murder plot, that's when it got super good. Yeah, love the movie. That was fantastic.
8 out of 10.
All right, solid. I'll give it a 5 out of 5 stars because it's Hitchcock. I can't give my boy anything less.
Are you saying that there will never be a Hitchcock film that you see that you give anything lower?
There might be some that aren't as good, but this is one of
How could you do that to your boy?
One of his top. This is one of my top, or not one of my top movies. This is one of his top movies, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you look on Letterboxd.
It was weird because it's not in these, like, I get these Hitchcock collections of, like, Blu-ray and 4K Blu-rays, and this one's never in them. I had to get this one separately.
Yeah, because there's just so many. He's just got so many great movies that you can't even, like, collect them all. Because I have those collections, too. I have, like, 3 different ones.
There's some, like, weirder, obscure ones in some of these collections. I thought this one would be, but...
Yeah, I know, right? but even his obscure movies, like I just watched Rope on like a whim, and I'm like, wow, that was fucking awesome. That's like way better than like something you'd see. I don't know, like half the shit that comes out today. Even like I'm so impressed by how old like these movies are, and that they're still like so interesting, that they still work as well as they do.
Yeah, they hold.
It shows me they
very,
really
very
understood. Well. Yeah, and he understands like writing. That craft of like just telling a good story, writing a plot that just like moves forward. It's like, oh, what a relief. And it's not too long
enough.
either.
It's just complex enough. It's just got everything. Working in its favor. All the dialogue, the story.
And it's not like too long. It's not too short. It's just like the perfect length. You just get like everything you need out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say my rating, but I don't know. I sat probably right between you guys, being the centrist here. And I guess a 9 out of 10, 4.5 star for me. Maybe reassess once I see Rear Window, because that does sound interesting.
Yeah, I love that.
You were saying about that?
Yeah, Rear Window's great.
Yeah, that's my favorite Hitchcock for sure.
I don't think your score for this will go down, but Rear Window is, that's a 5 star. I don't think I've seen an Alfred Hitchcock that isn't a 5 star at this point.
Suspicious.
All of them I've seen are 5 stars.
Question time.
Okay, we were ready.
I guess we're good. Question time.
Oh, nice. We're singing it in this time. Yes.
I've got... Do you remember that artist? I think they were called Mika, and they were just kind of doing the Freddie Mercury thing. Remember? I can be brown.
No, I don't know that.
What do you mean doing the Freddie Mercury thing? Oh, her. Yeah. No, I remember. Yeah.
Her? I thought it was a guy. Well, whatever they are.
Oh, I guess I've heard like so many covers and shit. I don't even know the original, to be honest. Like.
Yeah, because that's been stuck in my head every time that I pull up Dial M for Murder, because there's a lyric where they talk about Grace Kelly, and Grace Kelly's in it. It'd be like, I could be brown like Grace Kelly. And now it's just in my head all fucking day, and it just pisses me off. I never even wanted to hear that song. It was just on the radio, and I worked in customer service.
Sometimes it helps if you just like listen to the song in full.
No.
So you can like, really? Does that not work for you?
No, it
That's
does
like
not.
The only thing
no, it does not work for me.
Really? Because we had that conversation about the Black Eyed Peas like a few episodes ago.
Yeah?
You know, the original Let's Get It Started.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I saw a clip of it was like a clip from MTV from like 2003 or something, and it was like, it was prefaced with like, this, how badly could this have aged? And it was like Chris Rock making this like joke about the Olsen twins, and then they come out on stage to the unfiltered Let's Get It Started.
Oh, that's so good.
Like,
is that on YouTube?
Oh man, I was dying. It was like a clip someone sent me.
Send it to me. Find it.
It was absolutely golden.
You gotta send it.
Yeah, put it in the Discord. I want to see it.
Yeah. Hold on,
I'm a terrible person. I'm a terrible person for wanting to see this.
It is funny. It is very funny.
Oh, it's fucking hilarious. It's too good.
No, it's just like it's really, it builds a certain perspective to like see how quickly things change, you know, because that's like all of our childhoods basically. That's like what we were.
Comedy is illegal now.
Oh yeah, well, like in Mean Girls, we were watching this, like saying like the N-word and like all kinds of like crazy shit.
Yeah, most comedies like from that era would have all kinds of like slurs and.
Well, like it's fucking Mean Girls. I didn't expect it from that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was so like innocuous. Okay, I've sent a message to try and get this sent to me, but in the meantime, let's do some questions from the Sardonicast community. If you want to leave your own questions for us to answer in the future, head over to the suggestion thread in the subreddit. Just like... let's do this one from Ethan Mars Origami.
Oh, God. You know what that's a reference to, right?
No, tell me.
Heavy Rain.
Oh,
Ethan Mars is the main character's name in the Origami Killer.
I've never actually played Heavy Rain.
Oh shit!
Sean!
You got to do it.
Yeah,
you got to play that.
Seen, like, clips.
We're speaking of great video game stories. I mean,
yeah.
Sean,
Jason.
Yeah, but favorite board game? Huh?
Oh shit! Well, so this is interesting because I've recently just started getting into like modern board games in the past like few years, I guess.
Oh yeah,
because everybody's played the classic like Monopoly or like Risk or like all these old ones,
the obvious ones.
But there's actually a lot of really cool, innovative new board games being made that are a lot of fun, and they can seem like intimidating at first of like, oh wow, this is like complicated, there's a lot of rules. But all you have to do is just like read through the rule book once, do like a little practice thing, and then it's like, okay, now you know it, and it's really simple, and you just follow the rules of like the cards or whatever they tell you to do, essentially. There's one that I like called Lords of Waterdeep, and I have the expansion for that, and that's really fun. And then my brother introduced me also to one called Terraforming Mars, which I've played a couple times now and is also really, really fun. But apparently, like getting all the expansions for it, like if you wanted to include all of them, you wouldn't be able to fit it on like any table. So like you'd have to like play it on the floor or something. Like apparently that goes like fucking hard. I'm kind of curious about that, but just play with one expansion at a time sort of thing. But
yeah.
Oh, and I played the Binding of Isaac card game like a few nights ago, actually. That was pretty fun.
Nice. So I'll say, this is a good time for me to plug this. Uno like contacted me and they sent me like this Marvel like version of Uno. It's Uno, but with like this added element of like kind of characters with special cards, and they're all, Spider-Man, Captain America, whatever. And it's basically Uno, but you have special abilities too. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. It was actually a really cool game that they sent me. So like, thank you, Mattel. I really appreciated that. They just sent me it for free.
Mattel.
Yeah. They didn't say I had to make a video or anything. They just like sent it to me, like, cause they're like, we like your stuff. Here you go. I'm like, thank you. And it was Marvel themed too.
They're getting their money's worth because you talked about it on a podcast.
Yeah, so at least plug that. So check out Marvel Uno. But yeah, that being said, other games I love, board games. You mentioned Risk. I've had some really good games of Risk that go on, days sometimes. Especially that Game of Thrones Risk. I don't know if you've ever played that.
No.
That's a lot of fun, the Game of Thrones version of Risk. It's just Risk, but, the lands of whatever they're called, Westeros. And it's really cool.
What's actually even also really cool about board games like Risk is now a lot of these classic things have like console adaptations. So I think we played like on the Switch or something, and it was just so much more streamlined because it's just
I played it on my phone.
Yeah, a lot of things that take longer when you're playing it physically are just like, oh, it just happens really quickly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like the dice rolls and like moving the guy. Yeah, it's like, it takes forever. Or like people messing up the rolls.
And then you don't have to worry if you're doing like an illegal move when you're doing it like digitally too. It'll just not let you.
Yeah, it just does all that shit for you. Yes, cool. Right, exactly. I definitely agree with you. Like, I like the automation of those kind of video game board games, like Risk and Monopoly.
I've been playing a bit of chess, just like on mobile. Like if I'm in a cinch or whatever. For some reason, it's good on there.
Are you good?
Oh, I'm not good. No, like I never really played chess much, but I just figure it's a pretty good app for it. Like it's fun to go try and improve.
There's a good Steam game. I think it's called Tabletop Simulator. I'm gonna double check, but
it is.
They just have like it's just every game. Like you can basically not every game, but it's like enough tools to make your own custom games. So basically, everyone's modded in their own version of Risk or their own. Yeah, I've played like custom games made by my friends. With these weird rules. Like I can't even tell you like some of the weird games like we played on Tabletop Simulator. But yeah, it's like stuff like that, like stuff they just introduced to me that day, and like, oh, let's play it. And yeah, in addition to like Risk and stuff like that. So yeah, Tabletop Simulator's fun. That's if you want to play like games over Discord or Zoom, like board games. I'd say that's a great way to do it.
So I got two favorites. Liar's Dice. I'm addicted to Liar's Dice. What a game!
What is that?
Yeah,
it's everyone has like they start with 5 die and they hide them under a cup, and you've got to keep escalating the number, saying like, oh, 4 5s, and the next person has to say, well, 6 6s, until someone calls you out for being a liar, and then you count up how many of the number that was shouted out, and you throw a dice in the middle if you lose, and yeah, it's just really fun.
Oh, cool. Liar's Dice.
That's amazing. And so is the game Boulder Dash. I played that a lot growing up. It's like you've got to like, you pick up a card with like a crazy word on it, and the word does actually exist, and you've either got to like make up as a group the definition of the word or what the word means or whatever, and try and convince everyone. Yeah, that was fun as well.
Yeah, I see it here.
You reminded me when I was very young. I don't remember how old I was. I was under the age of 10. My parents got Yahtzee, and I was like trying to figure out how to play it, and they were just like, no, you just like shake it up and then roll the dice. I'm like, okay. And so I was just like following along, and then I rolled the dice and it was all 6s, and they were like, oh, you won. And then we didn't even play a second game, and I still don't know how the fuck the game works.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently I got Yahtzee, and I still don't even know how to play. I have a 100% win streak on that game, and I will never play another. I'm retiring from Yahtzee.
Okay, guys, I've got the MTV clip if you want to see it.
Oh, please.
I'll post it on the Discord.
Gosh. Yeah. That's so funny. Oh, that's great.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I swear, like, was that song? I'm trying to think. I wonder if that was licensed to certain films and made it in the cut of the film before they decided we should do a radio edit. I wonder if that happened.
Yeah, wow. I don't know. Did they like play that on the radio? Yeah, I don't know when that tweak was made.
Yeah,
because it seemed like it was just everywhere. To be honest, like that version.
I'm gonna look up the Wikipedia page to Let's Get It Started.
Yeah, that rewrite of history is hilarious. Like, you can't even listen to it on Spotify anymore.
Damn, the Wikipedia page doesn't have like that part of it on it. Like, what the fuck? Okay, what if I search "Let's Get R-slurred"?
I think they've tried to just remove it from the history books over here.
That's information that should be there. Why would that, like...
Only people like us remember.
Yeah, we can't memory hole this shit. We need a documentary. Netflix, what the fuck? Give me a documentary on this shit. Somebody, that would make for an interesting series. Not just on that song, but like interesting censorship over the years.
Yeah, stuff they're trying to hide. You get some Disney ones.
You could have like an entire Netflix series about that. You could talk about Song of the South. You could talk about the original Fantasia. You could talk about CeeLo Green's Forget You. Just like, oh yeah, it would be cool to like interview him and just be like, so how much money do you think you made? Was it the right decision? And he's just like wearing his like entire gold outfit and cane. He's like, yes.
I'm just like quiet. I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, it's just a little blast from the past.
It's shocking. It's like satire.
Yeah, it doesn't seem real, but like that.
Oh my god, no, it doesn't seem real. Holy shit!
Damn. Yeah. Okay. Somebody write a fucking article about Let's Get R-slurred, please, because I need like that's it. I would like to read the history.
Yeah, this needs to be cleaned up.
We should at least have a list of every use of it before it got nerfed. Right?
It was probably on like Cartoon Network or something.
Oh, probably. It was probably in like a Go-Gurt commercial. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah. It's like how Fred Flintstone used to like smoke cigarettes during like ads. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's so good.
What a time.
That is funny. It's like, what the fuck?
Is this when America was great?
Oh yeah, I think it was like a little before that.
Donald Trump trying to get us back to 2004.
Let's get R-slurred again.
Way ahead of you.
Yeah.
It's too good. Okay, we got this one here we can do from Mobile Association 8. What are your guys' thoughts on the controversy surrounding the upcoming HBO series, The Idol? The show has had a massive creative overhaul following the departure of filmmaker Amy Seimetz. Her take would have been about a troubled singer falls victim to a predatory industry figure and fights to reclaim her own agency, but this did not render well with The Weeknd, the lead actor, co-creator, and executive producer. After her departure, creator Sam Levinson took over as writer and director for all the episodes and wanted more graphic sex scenes and nudity, including disturbing fetishes between the female lead and The Weeknd's character.
Which show?
Some crew members left the project. It's called The Idol. There are a few ads up
heard all
on
about
YouTube
this,
if you want to see.
Seems like an absolute disaster.
Some crew members left the project due to the disturbing sexual nature of the new rewrites, let alone the long filming period following the massive creative overhaul. Yeah.
So what did Amy do? Was she the original writer? Sorry,
I believe she was the original director, right? Yeah. But she had to leave for some reason.
Weird.
Yeah, then Sam Levinson came in.
Sam Levinson.
Okay, yeah.
He's the one like in charge of it now. Yeah.
As the series director. Okay, interesting. So she was the lead female role in Upstream Color, if you're curious who that is. Amy Seimetz.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She's the one who has a restraining order against
Shane Carruth.
Shane Carruth, yeah.
Is that, yeah. Yeah, you described it. You described it really well, Alex. That's pretty much exactly like what's going on.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Like, I don't have much to add to like what you said. Yeah, that's like, it's like Sam Levinson took over. He's adding like all these like really gratuitous nude scenes. Man, I just don't like Sam Levinson stuff. I've never seen something from him that I've been impressed by, and I haven't seen Euphoria yet.
Oh,
it seems really like soap opera-y, but I did not like Malcolm and Marie at all. So.
See, I've only seen Euphoria.
Euphoria is a lot better than Malcolm and Marie.
Yeah, I liked Euphoria, especially season 1.
He does this thing with these characters where they're all just mouthpieces for him and for his view of the world, and it's so annoying.
You could say the same thing about Charlie Kaufman, you know?
Yeah, except
depends
he's
how
a better writer, Charlie Kaufman.
Exactly, so that's not inherently.
Yeah, yeah. I guess not always, but for him, it's specifically kind of grating, where every character is like, okay, I get that Sam Levinson wrote it. Yeah, this show just seems like a mess. I guess I just don't have much to add aside from I don't like Sam Levinson. I'm not surprised the show is not going well.
Yeah, something to do with like him throwing his. Because I think he's still doing another season of Euphoria, so it's like leveraging that. Yeah, if they want another season of Euphoria, they're going to be okay with what I'm doing to the production of The Idol right now, type thing. But who truly knows?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, there's quite a good Rolling Stone article about it if anyone wants to read more in depth on that one.
He was executive producer on Pearl.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Levinson.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember seeing his name.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Still have to check it out.
Okay. Yeah, should we do one more here?
One more.
Let's do this one with Eyes to the Future then, from Rome Moven. What films are you looking forward to this year? Me personally, Dune Part 2, Killers of the Flower Moon, and The Killer are ones in particular I'm looking forward to.
John Wick 4, that looks like a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. Oppenheimer.
Yeah, rest in peace, Lance Reddick, just dying.
Oh my
God.
60.
60.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that one.
He was so young, too.
Yeah, so young.
Yeah. But yeah, Oppenheimer, really Barbie. Looking forward to those.
We've got like a new Scorsese, I think, coming out. Killers of the Flower Moon. Is that?
Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yep,
yeah.
sick.
We got a new Lanthimos.
Cross the Spider-Verse
coming out.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things listed on IMDb that don't have like years for the release date, but so like I don't know. Nosferatu is probably not coming out until I don't know.
Beau is Afraid.
Was the question for this year?
Yeah, it says this year.
Okay. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I thought the trailer for Beau is Afraid looks interesting. I prefer the name Disappointment Boulevard, though. I think that's a better name than Beau is Afraid.
Oh, yeah, that's what it originally was supposed to be, wasn't it?
I agree.
Interesting. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, bunch of things in my watch list that have no year that I I don't even know if they're supposed to come out later this year. Maybe I should organize them, see if I can get ones that say 2023. Okay, yeah, here we go. The Flash. Very
Mermaid's not coming to mind.
Very much looking forward to The Flash because I'm very interested in how that goes. We've got Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom.
Yes.
Okay.
Finally. Meg 2, The Trench.
Oh, Meg 2 is coming out? I wonder if that one will just get delayed.
The new Aquaman?
Yeah, Aquaman, right? Because they're like trying to redo the DC shit now.
Yeah, because I was looking at how Shazam's doing financially. It doesn't seem to be too impressive right now. So, yeah, I don't know if they're going to have a bit of cold feet. And that last Aquaman movie made so much money. Like that made over $1 billion.
Yeah, it did.
Probably hoping for the same.
There's a David Fincher movie coming out called The Killer with Michael Fassbender.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's what the commenter was saying.
Select
about.
theaters and Netflix, fall 2022. Okay. Tilda Swinton.
Okay.
Shit. That sounds fun. That sounds
cool.
great.
Yeah, that sounds up my alley.
Challengers, Luca Guadagnino. I have no idea what that is.
Okay, cool.
There's a movie coming that I guess is already out called Inside with Willem Dafoe, but I'll check it out. I don't even know why.
Yeah. I saw the trailer for that. Yeah, it looks okay.
Yeah. Okay. I guess we've said enough things. If we're missing anything...
Yeah, that's a good list.
Let me know. Oh, Past Lives is supposed to be really good.
Hell yeah.
That one came out, I think, at Sundance, but I couldn't see it because I wasn't there in person. It wasn't on the digital.
Ralph and the Multiverse 2.
Oh, is that confirmed?
No, that's next year.
Okay.
It's not confirmed, but probably next year.
Yeah. Well, some things to look forward to. And then, whatever. I mean, like, we'll find out what other movies to look forward to in a few months when Cannes Film Festival happens and some things show up there. And then I'll see them at TIFF or whatever.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much. Attention, podcast listeners. This part of the podcast right now was actually recorded after we recorded the part that you were already listening to, because due to a scheduling conflict in the next episode, Ralph will not be here. It'll just be me and Alex, or Alex and I. And so we're recording this part of the episode later because we're recording a bunch early anyway because of other things happening in April. So we're going to do a different recommendation. We're saving Ralph's recommendation for the episode after. And so we're swapping. Alex is going to recommend something. What is it?
Yeah, so we'll save Ralph's one, and I figured why not throw the Prince of Egypt out there, 1998, DreamWorks.
Ooh!
Yeah.
I haven't seen that yet. We're definitely not about to record the episode where I've already seen it. Anyway, if you don't want to be spoiled for the Prince of Egypt, 1998, watch it before the next episode. These episodes come out every 2 weeks. You can listen to them early by going to sardonicast.com, signing up for premium. It's only $2 a month. Also, patreon.com/sardonicast. Also, we got merch. And also, there's a Sardonicast highlights channel. And now we will cut back to the previous episode you were already listening to because it had its own kind of funny outro. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Go to patreon.com/sardonicast or go to sardonicast.com and sign up for premium. It's only $2 a month. Either way, you get to support the show and feel good about yourself. The show is ad-free, except Ralph mentioning Mattel.
Yeah, that was technically product placement.
We're fine with it.
Oh, no, yeah.
2 of us didn't get paid. I don't think you got paid. You got paid in a gift.
I didn't get paid either. I got paid in a gift. I got paid in a Mattel. Hey, I can bring it to TIFF. I'll bring the game to TIFF, and you guys can play it, so you can say like you got something out of it. Yeah.
All right. We also have a Sardonicast highlights channel that you can subscribe to on YouTube. We also got merch. Link in the description. Buy some merch. You'll feel good about yourself for the first time in your life. Do it. All right. Thank you so much, and happy Shrek.
This is the way you said it that time.
Yeah, that was the dramatic pause.
Happy Shrek.
It's all about presentation.
Yeah.
You just said it like, you've said it 50 times before, but just that time, I don't know why.
And I'm keeping it fresh. Still.
Yeah. It just connected that fresh
time. And that's why we're still going. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
See you, everyone.